this line where a Southern California aircraft parts factory began again this 20-hour work week already right now. This particular company tried to experiment with it. And at first the thought occurred to the men that the millennium had arrived. Yeah. Gee, you work 20 hours a week and you get the same amount of pay? Why, that's the life of Riley.
Yeah.
Then, of course, all kinds of difficulties occurred just at this point of man and wife relationships. Because the wives found the men at home at all these odd hours of the day, and they were getting under each other's foot. They were not accustomed to seeing the men at home, the wives. So the wives subjected to the men to all kinds of chores around the house, you know, like beating the rug and painting the picket fence and so forth. They subjected the men to what we call the honeydew days, you know, honeydew this, honeydew that.
Yeah.
And so the men, in order to escape from this burden, in order to escape from this, presumably, freedom of leisure, they went back to the plant and asked for more work to do.
What about the woman herself? There's some significant development likely to happen in the future that's going to provide her with more time?
Quite so. I think we have all these labor-saving devices, not only in the factory and in the office, but surely in the home.
You were telling me something about pregnancy, though, and the length of time this takes.
It is now, at least experimentally, feasible for a woman to conceive a child and at the end of 1 month go to a hospital and have a fetal delivery, and then come back and pick up that child at the end of the 9 months period, you see. And for some of the women who find that pregnancy is a difficult period, it kind of puts them out of circulation, and it culminates in labor, you see. For some of the women, they find this quite a blessing. They can devote more time to their career, to their own...
You're not endorsing this, are you?
No, I'm not.
Professor of ethics.
No, I'm not advocating this at all. But what we're pointing to is by the year 2000, that these and other things, rather miraculous things of this sort, it may be a reality.
You're talking about a sleep machine?
A sleep machine is also a possibility of a sleep machine in your future, whereby you can plug in and gain an 8 hours full, restful sleep period in just 2 hours. And think of the implications of this for free time.
Yeah, so we're getting the possibility of increased leisure from reduction in work, and we won't have to spend as much time sleeping.
That's right, and earlier retirements, which are being encouraged now. You can retire in a number of labor unions at the age of 55 now. Longer lifespan, you see.
And you were talking, I think you're an advocate, aren't you, of the fact that leisure homes are becoming a necessity?
That's right. Well, you know, it's curious how in North America some things that were a luxury then move almost very rapidly into the area of necessity, so that what was yesterday a luxury is tomorrow a necessity. And I think that the second home, particularly around lakefronts, around ski lodges and so forth, the second home is becoming increasingly, the leisure home is becoming a necessity.
We've drawn the conclusion from this, at least I am, that leisure is free time.
It's not necessarily that. In the book I try to point out that free time is only potentially leisure time. That free time must be converted into leisure time. Because you see, free time can lead to idleness. Free time, it might be said, is the most potent fertilizer for idleness. And idleness is the very death of leisure. There are a lot of people who have enforced idleness, illness in hospitals and so forth, and they are not at leisure. There's great anxiety and tension there. They are not at all at leisure. So free time is not to be confused with leisure time. Free time is only potentially leisure time.
Are you saying you can be at leisure in your work?
Yes, because leisure comes in the moment. You see, it's the attitude, it's the perspective that we bring to life. It's not so much a period of time, whether it be free time or after work time, as it is a state of mind. So it's that moment, that pause, as it were, that refreshes. It's that shaft that illuminates and brightens up the landscape of our life. And if we've said what it is not, it's not simply this free time, because for many of us, particularly those people in the professions, executives and so forth, They don't know when their work time ends and their leisure time begins.
No.
There's